How's it going, everybody? This is Angeli back with another episode of my raw vegan journey. And I want to talk about diet today, and I want to share my experience with everyone. So, the things I'm going to talk about today pertain to the 80-10-10 raw vegan diet and other things as well. But I'm going to grab a chair. So, how about you grab a chair, grab a smoothie or a drink or something, and let's sit down and chat for a while, shall we? Okay, so I'm back here in my beautiful, serene garden outside. As you can see behind me, I grow some of my food. I've got peppers, tomatoes, cucumbers, okra, cabbages, lettuces, leafy greens, some of the main staples that I eat. I tried growing zucchini, but that didn't work out too well. But anyway, today I want to talk about something that I have discovered. Those of you who know me know that I have been on this never-ending quest and search for answers to help with giving me the best chance at a healthy, productive life and a long life at that. One that brings me good health, and not just on a physical level, but a mental, a spiritual, emotional level. And one thing I have learned about my diet is that when I gave up processed foods and quit eating meat and junk foods, I noticed that I wasn't feeling anxious anymore. I wasn't feeling depressed. I wasn't feeling lethargic, but I was feeling happy and lighter and enlightened. It was like I was connecting again, and that was my cat making the camera shake by jumping on the table. He's outside climbing in a tree right now. But anyway, I'm going to try not to ramble because I'm good at that sometimes. However, there's something I want to talk about, and I will be doing like a picture slide here shortly, and sharing with you some of the images of the things that I create, or the meals that I have. But I want to share with people what I have experienced on the 80-10-10 raw vegan diet. Now, why did I go raw? Health concerns sent me in this direction. I became a vegan, or vegetarian, several years ago, like 7 or 8 years ago, and that got me on the path to healing, but it wasn't exactly optimal. And then I wound up going back to eating junk food. Not so much junk food, but I was eating a lot of fast foods. French fries was my biggest downfall. They were my biggest, that was my weakness. I loved French fries with sauce. Lots of ketchup or lots of awesome sauce if I went to Wendy's, but French fries was the thing, and they can become quite addictive. I am one with the nature today. So the thing of it is eventually that caught up with me, and it took its toll on my body, and my body was crying out, but I wasn't listening. And then one day my body made me listen. So enter the year 2020, January, I was moved to go completely raw, vegan. And I'm not saying raw as in eating raw eggs, raw meat, or anything like that, raw milk. I'm talking about raw and living foods, foods that are natural, they're whole, like fruit, bananas, peaches, melons, pears, nectarines, oranges, pineapple, grapefruits, apples, all of those things, they're whole and they're natural in their own way, and they have not been processed. And then I started eating living foods, and there's a difference between a raw fruit versus a living food. And the difference is that once you pick a fruit or a vegetable from its source, it's no longer connected to the life force, which means that in essence, it's no longer alive. But when you start consuming fermented foods that are lacto-fermented, then something beautiful happens. This symmetric, this beautiful symbiosis, this symmetry happens, and you're consuming live foods, live probiotic foods. And I know that there are some concerns about eating fermented foods, but to be quite honest, for me, I enjoy them because I know they're giving me good bacteria, and I make my own, so I know that they have been fermented to the point where they form the lactobacillus that can survive the stomach acid. There's a lot of probiotics out there that they make you pay top dollar for, and they say they're the best, but they can't survive unless they make some kind of coating on the caplet. But I mean, what's the sense of paying all this money when for a few pennies you can go and make your own? You can learn. It's easy to do. Salt, water, vegetables, and thyme. Those are the 4 basic components to making your own living probiotic foods. And they taste great, you know, especially if you're a fruitarian or frugivore on the 80-10-10 raw vegan diet. Sometimes we crave that salty, and so we balance things out, and that's where the probiotics come in. I get enough salt from my foods sometimes, but I still like to have that balance and have a little a savory, salty flavor. And that's where pickles come in, and sauerkraut. I've fermented broccoli and cauliflower and okra, green beans. Those things, the fermenting process breaks down the starches and the sugars and all the things that make them hard to digest, and they render something that makes them easy for us to consume and digest, plus gives us good probiotics. Now, why are fermented foods good? In my opinion, because if you've ever been on a round of antibiotics, it wiped out your system. And I mean wiped it out. It doesn't care. Especially the broad spectrum antibiotics. They will take out everything and leave nothing. And then you're left defenseless. So you need to re-inoculate yourself and get some good probiotics, some good bacteria back in your stomach to help you digest. And I have learned this over the years because of my experience. So what I want to tell you about this is there's a way that you can eat to really optimize your nutritional consumption of foods and to assimilate. A lot of people will make smoothies, and smoothies is all the rave, okay? Here's the thing about smoothies. They're wonderful, especially if you are missing a lot of teeth and there's things that you can't chew up. However, I've looked at a lot of the smoothie recipes online, and they do very little in the way of building up your nutrition. There are smoothies that combine sweet fruits with nuts and greens and several different fruits and herbs. And that is a recipe for disaster. It may be a healthier choice of food, yes, but is it really healthy? All right, let's look at this for a minute. So let's break down the constituents of a green smoothie. Let's say the basic recipe calls for bananas, blueberries, maybe a few dates, a bunch of greens, some almond milk, and some almond butter. Okay, let's pick this apart. We have a fat, we have a bitter, we have a sweet, we have a slightly tart. Okay, now while all of these things can really make you feel like you are getting a good round solid meal, the issue with this kind of smoothie is A, you don't mix fat with sweet fruits. Why? Okay, let's look at the studies on this. Fruits have a higher water content and it quickly goes through the digestive tract. Having them as dessert creates a traffic jam in your stomach, Dr. Jeffrey says. Now, you have the fruits sitting on top of whatever food you consumed before because starch takes about 2 hours to process, protein about 3, and probably even longer if you're mixing those two together. And this leads to bloating and even worse to the loss of good nutrients in the fruit due to the fermentation process, he adds. Fermentation simply means bacterial action on food resulting in its breakdown. There is a science behind why such a rule is in place for the combination of fats and sugars or starches. It has to do with the way undigested oils and fats interfere with blood sugar metabolism. Undigested oils and fats in the bloodstream can impede the normal conversion of sugars, which is insulin resistance, from fruits, sweets, starches, and grains into usable energy for the cells. This typical side effect of undigested oils in the bloodstream include higher blood sugar levels, higher blood pressure levels, and escalating pathogen overgrowth for about 1 to 3 days and beyond, along with numerous other side effects like hormonal dysregulation, prostate pains, loss of libido, fuzzy brain, also known as brain fog, low energy, and so on. Studies show that when you combine fat with a sweet, the fat inhibits the absorption of the sweet fruit. In other words, your pancreas, which excretes or it produces insulin, the insulin can't do its job on the sweet fruit because there's a layer of fat surrounding it, prohibiting the insulin from getting to it. Think rubbing oil on your skin and then spraying water. And what does the water do? It beads up. It doesn't go through the oil. It can't, because that oil is this slick, thick substance. It's thicker than water, and oil and water does not mix, period. Even oil and vinegar does not mix. They separate. So nothing can get through that oil to do its job to digest the sugar. So the sugar sits there and it ferments. Now, let's look at cases of people who have developed cirrhosis of the liver, yet they never drank a drop of alcohol in their entire life. Autobrewery syndrome, or gut fermentation syndrome, is a condition in which ethanol is produced through endogenous fermentation by fungi or bacteria in the gastrointestinal system, aka your gut. Patients with autobrewery syndrome present with many of the signs and symptoms of alcohol intoxication while denying an intake of alcohol and often report a high sugar, high carbohydrate diet. The production of endogenous ethanol occurs in minute quantities as part of normal digestion, but when fermenting yeast or bacteria become pathogenic, extreme blood alcohol levels may result. Autobrewery syndrome is more prevalent in patients with comorbidities such as diabetes, obesity, and Crohn's disease. Why did they get cirrhosis? Do you think it could have been the fact that their diet played a key role in causing this dis-ease of the body? Yes. If you said yes, you are correct. Because what happens is when you eat certain combinations of foods, some of it does not get digested properly and it sits there and it ferments. And if you know anything about wine making, they make wine out of fermented grapes. That's right. Grapes, when they ferment, they turn to alcohol, which is inebriating. Okay, so most people are walking around slightly inebriated because of the foods that they put in their bodies. Okay? And there have been cases where people have been pulled over and given a test for inebriation, and they flunked it, and they never had anything to drink. But it was because their body was producing alcohol because of their diet. So imagine what's going on inside of your body. Your body is a very complicated, very complex tool. And it can do a pretty good job of sustaining us, but it kind of needs our help too. It needs us to be smart about what we feed it, what we put into it. And I'm not just talking physically, I'm talking emotionally and mentally and spiritually. I mean, if you're putting junk in all doorways to your temple, what's going to come out of it? Junk. Let's look at the next picture. Evening meal. I have learned from experimenting on myself and through research. There are 4 vitamins that are fat soluble. The rest are water soluble. Fat soluble means they are stored in the fat in your body, okay? And they cannot be utilized without fat. So they need fat for them to be turned into what they need to be. Those are vitamins A, E, D, and K. Those are your fat soluble vitamins. B, C, A, and all the rest of them, they're water soluble. But let's look at A, E, D, and K, okay? And leafy greens. We have a big plate of leafy greens. We have a salad, right? And for most of us, we eat these salads, we throw all kinds of stuff in the salads, we put on salad dressing. Not me, not anymore, but a lot of the population does this. And here we have another recipe for disaster for several reasons. One, if you're putting fruit in that salad, again, fruit with fat, the dressing, does not mix. Depending on what's in the dressing, again, there are healthy choices of dressings, there are unhealthy choices of dressings, and then there are homemade dressings that you know exactly what's in them, which is the best option to go with the salad. However, on the salad with the leafy greens, unless you have a good set of chompers, and unless you have about an hour or so to sit and really chew chew, chew, and I mean chew for a very long time, all of those greens, you're not getting optimum absorption. There's a few elements missing. The chew factor is one of those, of course, and for me, I miss a lot of my molars because because of my bad diet when I was younger, I've had a lot of my molars pulled out. So I don't really have enough to chew up anything substantially. So this is where smoothies play a key role in my life. Now there's others of you out there who might have the time and the teeth to sit and chew, and that's great. But for those of you who don't, even with your smoothies, you still need to chew. It activates the enzymes in your saliva. That's where digestion starts. And when you chew, if you've ever noticed, your saliva starts coming out and it breaks the food down. And if you chew for any length of time, it turns to a mush. And that's when you're getting all your nutrients. You're just making food work for you instead of you working for the food. So instead of a salad, for those of you who can't chew it up good enough or don't have enough teeth, what I do is I have 2 dinners. My evening meal consists of a green smoothie, and I'm not talking about with fruit, like most people think green smoothies are fruit smoothies with greens. That is not a true green smoothie. A true green smoothie is savory. And here's one idea. I will take a whole cucumber with a cup of water, and I will add a tomato, a sprig of dill or 2, maybe some bell pepper, or I might just stop right there and have that. But I will add 2 to 4 big handfuls of greens, depending on what kind I have and how much I have. But I will add all of my greens. Now I know what I could eat in a salad, so I will add that much. You never want to add any more than you would eat if you were actually chewing it up, because then your body's just going to get overloaded and you're going to have another problem. So you always want to know what you can eat first if you were going to chew it. And I've learned what I can eat. So about 4 big handfuls of greens is something that I can tolerate. And so I put those greens in there with my my cucumber, and then I add a citric, or a citrus, not a citric, a citrus. I'll either add some lime juice, some lemon juice, or an orange. Might even add a grapefruit if I feel frisky. But orange is really good because it kind of has a little sweet flavor, but you can actually mix an orange with a fat and get away with it because it's an acidic fruit. Fats go good with acid. Fats do not go good with subacid or sweet. So if you're into food combining, you'll understand what I'm talking about. And if you don't know anything about food combining, I would suggest starting with Herbert Shelton. He is the king of food combining. He is the oldest person I know that started, writing books about it. And there is something to it. A lot of people say food combining doesn't really do anything. I sit here and I tell you it does. It makes a huge difference. Just a little FYI, my bowel movements don't stink anymore. If anything, they smell like the food that went in. That's an added benefit. So, just a little wink wink. You can be out in public and let out a little stinker that don't stink. Nobody would know the difference unless they heard it. So, yeah, I've done it. Okay, so anyway, moving on. I don't want this to be a very long video, but it looks like it's going to be. I can't really tell. So anyway, the fact remains that there are certain combinations that make your food optimal, and there are certain combinations that make it not so good. What I have discovered is that in order to process the A, E, and D, or A, E, and K that's in the leafy greens, you need a fat. But you can't mix that fat with a sweet fruit. So what do? You make a savory smoothie. And I've got a few recipes that I will be sharing on my Instagram channel very soon. That's Raw Jolie, RAWJOLIE, and I'll put a link down in the description for you. I think there's already one there. I think I put it in there for a permanent, but I'll make sure to link you up to my Instagram channel. And you can subscribe if you like. That would be great. Give me a thumbs up on this video too if you like it. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I don't post often, not like a lot of people. I only post when I have something important to share or say, or a new recipe that I want to share with others. So you won't get bombarded every day with messages. When you subscribe to me, you won't be seeing something come up every day. Maybe once or twice a month I post, and that's, because I have a life, and I'm not really a YouTube content creator per se. I am, but I'm not that into it because, like I said, I have a life. I have chores I do. I have 2 cats to take care of. I have a business to run, and so my time is better spent doing the important things in life. And then when I have something important to share with you, that's when I will share it. So please subscribe anyways. Even though I don't post that much, I do post valuable information. At least I think it's valuable, and that's something that people need to know. So let's move on. This smoothie, once you combine those things, like your cucumber, now you can add any fat. Sometimes I'll add a little bit, and it doesn't take much. You don't need a lot of fat in your diet. You don't need a lot of protein. Your body makes all this stuff, and actually, we don't need a lot of fat because we're not designed to process all that fat. And I found that out the hard way. So I went from almost 300 pounds, and well, you saw me standing up. I'm slimming down. I'm at 169 today, and that's a celebration for me. And that's another reason why I'm here, is because the weight just effortlessly drops off. But I'm still exercising. I'm doing pull-up. I actually developed some muscle. How about that? So anyway, the smoothie. Like I said, I like to ramble sometimes. I like to talk. And we're under a Virgo new moon, so it's a chatty moon. Virgo is ruled by Mercury. Mercury is the god of communication. So, the smoothie. Focus. Cucumber, tomato, peppers. You can basically put just about anything in this green smoothie as far as green vegetables, raw, and add some greens to it. Add a little citrus to help absorb the iron from the greens, and a little tiny bit of fat. You could probably put cut an avocado in 4 quarters if it's a small California black avocado. Cut that in 4ths and use a quarter of that, or even half of that quarter is sufficient, because you'll probably want a little more fat with the next meal after your smoothie. But just that little bit, or maybe 1 or 2 Brazil nuts is sufficient. And there's your selenium and a sufficient amount of fat. Or you can mix ground up chia seeds, ground up flax seed, a couple of olives to give it that salty, savory. Now I still use Himalayan pink salt, and on the 80-10-10 raw vegan diet, that's kind of an issue with them. It's a no-no, but I've been only raw since January of 2020, and this is September of 2020, so that's what, 9 months, going on 9 months. So I'm still transitioning, and I started out at the beginning of the year. I weighed 195 pounds, and I've made it down to 169. I plateaued a couple of times, I've gone up, I've gone down, but that's to be expected, especially when your body is starting to detox. And There's things that you'll go through. You might go through a period where you feel like you've got the flu, but it's not really the flu. It's just your body's way of saying it's detoxing kind of fast because you're going completely healthy with your foods. But that's for another episode. Right now we're talking about basically what I eat in a day. It's a what I eat in a day video, but I don't like to film myself making stuff because there's plenty of videos of people filming themselves making the foods. I will share pictures with you because I'd rather talk to you more than film myself making some food. And I just want to show you the end result and share the recipe. That's my style. So I'd rather be face to face with you and talking about what my experience has been and how my diet has helped me heal on so many levels. I mean, on every plane of existence, my body, my mind, my spirit is healing. And I'm letting go of things that no longer serve me. But back to the smoothie. When you have the right ingredients, you can feel it. I mean, you can really, really feel it. You can feel the difference. I feel these nutrients being absorbed into my body because they have the right environment to do so. And when you give your body the right environment, when you give it the right stuff at the right time in the right combination, your body does this miraculous thing called healing itself. We don't heal ourselves. Food don't heal ourselves or us. Our body does the healing. It does all the work if we let it. But we have to be in a state of allowing to allow our body to do what it does best, and that is to replenish, rejuvenate, restore, to heal, to sustain us. So by learning how these foods work and what makes them work, I have taken my life to a whole new level, and my energy is like, wow. I am able to do things again that I wasn't able to do years ago. Years ago, it was like, get me up off the couch. I don't think so. Years ago, trying to get up the stairs without panting like a dog, no. Now I run up and down the stairs. Of course, I still hold on to the handrail because, you know, I'm nearing 60 and I want to take care of my body as well. So on that note, putting the right things together at the right time of day is really crucial for maintaining excellent health. So here's the basic rundown. In the morning, I have a mono meal of maybe watermelon, cantaloupe, muskmelon, papaya, some kind of melon. Canary melons are really, really good. Honeydew, any kind of melon, and I will eat that until I'm full. And then I'll let that digest, and maybe a couple hours later I'll have a banana smoothie, and that will consist of bananas, maybe some dates, maybe some blueberries, or bananas and cherries, bananas and peaches, bananas and pears, bananas and mango, bananas and any kind of fruit that's not acidic. Fruits that are acidic that do not mix well with bananas are things like oranges, lemons, limes, pineapple, kiwi, any acidic fruit. You don't want to combine those with sweet fruit. If you can do well to remember that, no acidic and sweet fruits mixed together, no sweet fruits mixed with fat. You can mix fat with acidic fruit if it's with a green, but not with a sweet. Okay, so those are some of the main rules to remember. And once again, you can look up, I think my video is going to stop, so I'm going to pause this. Yeah, I'm at 32 minutes, so I'm going to stop right here for a moment. Okay, so we were talking about acidic and sweet and fat and all that. So when you can Google online about food combining principles. If you just remember those three words, food combining principles, it will show you, you'll get a whole plethora of information about combining principles and how to combine foods properly for ultimate absorption and assimilation of the nutrients, and how to better digest these foods. So here's the basic rundown of my meal in a day that we were talking about. Melons for breakfast, and I fill up on that. And then a couple of hours later when I start to feel hungry. Now, one thing you want to remember, when you get up in the morning, I know some people have regular steady jobs and they eat at certain times of the day. But the best way I have found is that don't eat that first meal until you're hungry, because your body isn't ready to eat in the morning, especially if you're getting up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, or even 6 or 7. We're not ready to eat right away. We are ready to drink. So drink plenty of water in the mornings, and that helps to hydrate you. Even coconut water, if you can get some fresh coconut water, drinking that in the morning will really give you a good boost. But hydrate. And then when you feel hungry, then eat your first meal. And then don't eat until you're hungry again. So here is the way I do it. In the morning when I'm getting hungry, I'll eat my melon. And then after that digests and I feel hungry again, which is a couple hours later, because melon really digests quickly. And so I'll eat a smoothie with bananas and fruit and water, and that's it. I don't put no fat, I don't put no greens. I just mix the fruit, and I come up, dragon fruit is a great one. You got to try that. Some bananas and some dragon fruit. It's really pretty pink. It's almost like a fuchsia pink. But it's really pretty and it's really tasty and delicious. And that's the thing I love about my lunch smoothies, is because I make all these different colors and they're gorgeous, and it's eye candy. And when you see something that you like and it's really pretty to you, you want to eat it up. And that's how they sell candy in the stores. It's the colors, right? That's how they get the kids. Because, you know, when we see these fruits in nature, there are all these different beautiful colors, and we want to just eat them. Look at grapes and plums and pears and peaches and tomatoes and apples and all the different colors. It's just like, how can you not salivate when you see these, right? And that's how they sell things in the store, is by eye appeal. So then after I eat my lunch, I wait until I'm hungry again. That's usually about 3 or 4 hours. I'll have another mono meal. A mono meal is eating one fruit only and eating it until you are full and satisfied. So it may be mangoes, it may be plums, pears, peaches, whatever is available and in season, that's what I'll have plenty. And I buy a lot of these. Like, I might buy 10 of them. My thing is flashing again. But anyways, that's my mono meal for my mid-afternoon snack. And then my evening meal consists of a green smoothie. And then I'll have some vegetables, like some zucchinis and celery and stuff of that nature. And I might make a raw spaghetti sauce out of tomatoes, which is on my Instagram channel. Also, you can find that over. Before my camera cut off, I was talking about finding my raw spaghetti sauce recipe on Instagram. I'll leave a link to that again, like I said. And I share a lot of my recipes and different foods that I make, and I give I give the recipe, for lack of better words there. I post there more than I do on my YouTube channel. So subscribe to my Instagram channel, and you can get a lot more information through that channel than you can the YouTube videos, because it's a lot easier to just upload pictures and type out a recipe than it is to shoot a video, edit it, upload it, and then process it to make it available to you. And it takes less of my time. Our time is valuable. That's why I try not to make real long videos, but sometimes you just can't help making a long video because you have so much information to share. And that's that's the gist of it. I have a lot of information. I do a lot of research. Um, I've done a lot of changing, and not everyone's ready for a dietary change. And I think Esther Hicks said something about if Source can't make them change their ways, what makes you think you can? So I stopped trying to get people to change their diet, and I just started sharing information. And when it's time and when they're ready, then the information will be there and they'll have it at their fingertips and they can make better choices. Until then, I just butt out in my own business, except with family sometimes. But, you know, sometimes unsolicited advice can go in a negative way, but most of the times I've learned to ask before I give that advice if they're ready and willing, because if someone's not ready to listen to you, you're just wasting your time, their time, and a bunch of energy talking on, and it's falling on deaf ears. So I wait until they invite me to talk, and that way I know they're going to get a load of good information that will help them. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this up. And once again, if you have not already, please subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, share the video with your friends, and subscribe to my Instagram channel as well. And I will put links in the description box, so be sure to check that out. Leave a comment if there's anything that you would like to hear me talk about concerning food. I'm the girl. I'm a Taurus. I'm a foodie. I love good food. I love things that look good, that taste good. And I can almost guarantee that if I'm sharing a food with you, it tastes good. If it doesn't taste good to me, I'm not sharing it. All right. So have a fruitalicious day, and I'll see you the next time. Bye.